Welcome back in here to another edition of the Backyard Sports Talk. I am Reid Jaco, and my co-host is back with me once again.
Danny Jaco, I'm back with him, co-host of this podcast. Glad to be here with you this evening.
We have a slobber knocker of a wrestling card this weekend for not only WWE, but along with NXT and AEW. Of course, NXT is under WWE, and then they want to be competition promotion in AEW, trying to promote and be right there along with them. Has one of their biggest events of the whole entire year coming up on Saturday. We'll get into that more later on. We have some big MLB news.
Think about everything that's going on in the world of sports and entertainment now. Baseball's running wide open coming into the All-Star break. Everybody's trying to get those last wins in before the All-Star break, and then football is in training camp. Get ready to start talking about their first preseason games coming up, and as you said about wrestling, it's packed all weekend.
Absolutely. It's like I was saying, some big MLB news going on. We just got word that the ABS, the automatic balls and strikes system, will be back at the All-Star break for the All-Star Game itself. MLB will test it there. We'll see how that goes. Nowadays, the All-Star Game is kind of like just a fun little game where nobody really cares. It doesn't really cost anything anymore. The Speedway Classic is coming up here in Bristol, Tennessee, North Carolina very soon. Or not North Carolina, Virginia very soon. MLB trade deadline is just right around the corner here at the end of the month. In about 40 some odd days. And as some NFL news, Kirk Cousins seemed misled and very upset with the Atlanta Falcons. And Mike Vrabel, he seems very disappointed in the way that the coaches have been talking about him and everything, because he feels like he's got a lot of pressure going on with him, and we're going to get into that later on. And then Eli Manning was asked to buy into the New York Giants. We'll get into that. And then preseason football is just right around the corner, less than a month away. We are going to get started right here on the Backyard Sports Talk.
So, like I said, it's a busy agenda.
Very busy agenda. So first of all, we're going to start with wrestling here. So the hype for Evolution. So we're going to take a look, but I want to go over some of this here. There's been some Flair and Bliss tension. And then you add the Nikki Bella return. And then now we've got the Battle Royal. And whoever ends up winning the Battle Royal will have a championship match at the Clash of Paris. Or Clash at Paris, rather. So, but what's interesting is with the tension that has been built with Flair and Bliss, Flair was getting her rear end kicked in the other on SmackDown the other night. Bliss come out to help her, and Flair basically made it known that she didn't need her help.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of upset, and she kind of seemed a little upset there. But what's really interesting is they're still planning on to be a tag team come Sunday at Evolution.
They're not going to get along.
So it really makes me wonder, are they building this to kind of build a rivalry? Because this would, you talk about this, I know this is kind of bad to say, because, these two ladies are both veterans in the sport. But could we kind of see maybe an old school rivalry between these two, maybe going into the late summer, early fall?
Absolutely. I think that's exactly what's going on. I don't know which one of them will become a heel. I'm guessing maybe Flair, but not necessarily. Well, because Alexa Bliss has been a heel before when she was with Bray Wyatt.
Yes. And what's very difficult moving on from that is Nikki Bella's return. When Nikki Bella made her return a couple of weeks ago, she had a run-in with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan later that same night went out with a shoulder injury and is now going to be out for a total of 6 months and probably not going to return until the first of the year. So now we're kind of looking, what do we do with Nikki Bella? Where does she go from there? Because they were cooking up a rivalry with her and Liv, but now that Liv is out, what are we thinking here?
I don't know. That changes things a lot because it was obvious what was going on there. Liv was basically calling her out, and that's all changed now. Liv, I think, was legitimately hurt, and
oh, for sure. I mean, I've seen the pictures of her having surgery and everything.
Right. Has she had her surgery yet?
Yes.
So it required surgery. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I don't know who will step in there and battle with Nikki, but somebody will. Isn't there some talk that her sister might come back too?
Potentially. I don't know if there's any full truth to that. But I have heard rumblings and rumors. How everybody is on the Twitter machine.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. We'll see it. We'll see about it moving forward. I don't know. And then what do you think about the Battle Royal at Evolution? It's going to be a all women's pay-per-view on Peacock exclusive on Sunday.
PLE.
PLE.
Premium live event. I think it'll be good. I think the women has proven themselves. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. There'll be something that don't go too smooth, I'm sure, and there'll be some enemies made there that night. But I think it'll be a good show. I think it'll be fine.
Absolutely. I really am looking forward to that. The first Evolution was in 2018. I was not much of a wrestling fan at that time, so I did not get to watch any of the first Evolution. However, I am super pumped and super excited for Evolution 2, so we'll see how that goes.
I don't know that I don't hate it, but I don't know that I just didn't necessarily like it having an all-man or an all-woman's event. I like it kind of mixed up.
Well, I think mainly this was a Stephanie McMahon event back in 2018.
She's back now. Maybe they're doing it to pacify,
right.
And like I said, I don't necessarily hate it. I prefer it the other way.
And you may like that, but like I was listening to an interview on I'm gonna shout them out, Wrestling Nation 24/7 on SiriusXM. If you don't have SiriusXM and want to hear that, I suggest you get that. It's a great network. I listen to it all the time in the car. Last night, Natalie Needlehart was on there after NXT, and they were interviewing her, and she is super excited about it. And the kind of the temperature that they got from the locker room with all the ladies and everything, they're really excited to have another pay-per-view or a PLE that is just focused on them.
Right. I want to, I'm going to have a big shout out here to Mr. Jim Cornette for the magazine that we got from him.
Yes,
I'm excited about that. Thank you, Jim Cornette.
I had purchased a magazine with a autographed magazine from Jim Cornette, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So talk a little bit there about the Battle Royal entrances and hype for Evolution. So now moving on to the Veterans versus Next Gen. So now what do you think about the veterans coming back and wrestling we're going to call them Next Gen wrestlers? So we have the older style wrestlers like a Goldberg and a Nikki Bella wrestling a Gunther, and then there's, I think that maybe they're building up maybe a Nikki Bella with a Tiffany Stratton or a Zelina Vega, but Tiffany Stratton, her idol is Trish Stratus, and she is going to be wrestling her on Sunday for the women's championship. She said on SmackDown last Friday night that if she was to defend her title against anybody, she wanted to do it against her idol. So her idol being Trish Stratus, so that's who is going to be in the ring with her on Sunday.
Well, I kind of think where you're going to, the elephant in the room, I believe, is Goldberg and Gunther. That's one of the big ones, as far as veterans coming back. I feel like you've not been overly excited about that. I am. I'm looking forward to it. I think that obviously I don't think it'll be a long match. They never are. And I think Goldberg will actually, I think he'll make himself look good. I think in the end that Gunther will probably win. I mean, it's hard for Gunther to lose, to a 58-year-old man, even if it is Goldberg. But I think it'll be okay. I mean, just the star power of it brings a lot. Even if the match is not that good, this people wants to be there and see that. So I think it'll be a good one. And I think that Nikki still can go pretty good. Don't you think?
Yeah, so last night on Busted Open, the wrestling podcast show on the XM radio network that I listen to, the Wrestling Nation 24/7, that just launched the 1st of July. She was on there with one of their hosts, and she said that Nikki has been training with her along with a couple other ladies, and she feels like Nikki is in one of the best spots that she's ever seen her.
Well, what I saw her the other day, she looked good. Looked like she was, had been training. Looked like she was in shape. So I think she'll do pretty good. I mean, because she's not, how old is Nikki? 40?
41.
41. Well, if she's kept herself up, I think she can be a viable, competitor.
I mean, if Trish Stratus can get out there at 49 years old and still go at it for almost an hour, I think.
That's how old Trish is, almost 50?
Yeah.
I think she really is big into training. I think she's a kind of a professional trainer, isn't she?
I think so.
But anyway, I think it'll be some good stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So behind the scenes, apparently the locker room influence and the college marching strategies with SmackDown on Big 12 nights. So with with the football coming back up in the fall, they are going to be showing some SmackDown in the Big 12 markets. So it's going to kind of be interesting here. I have some more ideas on that and some more, a little more about that I had pulled up here. Let me show it up here. It is. So WWE has partnered with the Big 12 Conference to place Friday Night SmackDown in key college football markets this fall. Potential benefits for WWE live attendance and college age viewerships. Here's a question that we could ask. Could this set precedents for other sports partnerships? So we're seeing this. So basically, what I'm seeing is Raw's always going to be the bigger show,
right?
Always. So now you thinking about SmackDown, it's hard to continue to grow the SmackDown without a younger viewership.
That's true.
So I kind of see what the WWE is thinking here and trying to partner with the Big 12 Conference to potentially put those in those locations of the college football market. You know, on a Friday night before the game on Saturday, let's come out and let's go to Friday Night SmackDown. You know, I don't know whether they will do any kind of event at the college before or after the SmackDown event itself, because SmackDown is now 2 hours, back down to 2 hours. It started that last Friday night.
I think and people wanted it that way.
Right. And I mean, anymore, I think Raw is only about 2.5, maybe 3/4 of maybe in potentially 3 hours. I mean, sometimes it goes 4, but really with Raw there's no time limit. It could go for 15 minutes. It could go for 5 hours. Depends on how the card is and how busy everything is.
Yeah, since they're not on a regular network, they can do it however they want, because in a regular network they got to kind of maintain structure as far as the time goes.
Right, absolutely. So moving on here, I'm going to ask you something here. So we're going to do a little bit of fantasy booking.
Okay.
So So you already kind of speculated about the Bella Twins reunion.
Yes.
How about a Roman Reigns return, rumored by Paul Heyman's hints?
What do you against who?
I don't know.
Anybody.
I mean, it's a fantasy booking, so what are we thinking? Are we thinking Roman comes back and he's like, "Hey Seth, I don't like the way you're doing things. You know, I stepped away, but you know, wise man, you know, I don't like the way you're doing things with him. You kind of got by the wayside. You know, I'm here to settle you guys down."
Well, I think one thing that if you're going to talk fantasy, that I don't see it in the real near future. I could see it happen. I could see Roman having a match with either Jericho or Moxley.
Okay, we're talking WWE. These guys aren't on WWE though.
But I can see one of them coming back here to the WWE before long.
Those two. Okay, if you're talking strictly fantasy, but if you want my opinion, neither one of those two will ever wrestle in WWE again.
Oh, I think they will.
No, I will lay money on it.
Well, I think Jericho will. I
don't think so.
He may not. I just keep thinking we're going to hear any time that one of them's on their way back. But.
So Jon Moxley is too big of a star in AEW to leave. That would be like right now Jey Uso leaving WWE.
Well, that's true.
Why would Jey Uso leave WWE right now?
Somebody was going to give him more money, I guess. But no, you're right. I see what you're saying.
Okay, but if you look at of course, the payroll is private because AEW is a private company.
Right. It's not publicly traded.
I guarantee you Jon Moxley / Dean Ambrose is the highest paid wrestler they've got on the books.
Probably.
Right behind probably maybe a Jericho.
Yeah. You're probably right. But going back to WWE, I don't know, who would you think that would battle with Roman?
I told you, Seth. After what happened at Mania, I think that's a perfect.
That would be a good
story.
That would be a really good program put together. Those two, and what's Heyman do? Stick with Seth?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily understand why they got Roman or why they have Paul with Seth.
Because Roman left?
Yeah, but Paul needs to be with somebody that needs a mouthpiece. Seth does a fine job of a promo. He don't need a mouthpiece. I could see him. I think the biggest thing is with Braun Breaker. That's good.
I mean, who else are you going to put him with? Just put him with, because I mean, for me personally, I like Seth and his crew.
Yeah, who's somebody though that they're trying to get over that's not over real good? Can you think of anybody?
No.
But if there was, that's like they had so much trouble with Roman for so many years, could never really get him where they wanted him, and Heyman got him there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, when they would make him a baby face, people boo him. And when he would be a heel, they would. I mean, no matter what they did, they booed Roman Reigns. They could not get him where people really liked him and embraced him until Paul Heyman came along.
Right. I get that, but for the simple fact is, I think the full story here is Roman Reigns was going to take the summer off, and Paul Heyman needed somewhere to be, so, and I think they were building Seth back up, so I think it was just inevitable that you would just put him in with Seth.
I think he's probably there as much for Braun Breaker as he is Seth.
Probably.
Because that's when they're really pushing, trying to get over. And he's their next big thing, you might say. Like they used to say about Brock.
I think Seth will end up being champion by the end of the year.
Well, and I can see that. There was some reading I was going on. I know you won't agree with this. I don't really either. But that was going on, some ramblings that thought that Brock would show up Saturday night.
Brock will never be back in a WWE ring.
That's what some people says. I've heard you say it too.
I will stand on that. He done screwed himself up.
And some people says that he will be back. So I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think it'll be this weekend.
That case has got worse. He will never be back in a WWE ring. Vince McMahon will never be back in a WWE ring.
I don't think that Brock will ever wrestle again.
No.
Not it. And he's too old to try to go back and do a UFC program with somebody, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he looks good now.
The last time I saw him, he didn't look very good.
He's put on a bunch of bulk now.
I just don't see him ever wrestling again. And I mean, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I really liked watching Brock, but he's
in his prime, yeah. But he's like 90 now.
Yeah.
I mean,
he'd still go.
And okay, in here, I'm gonna challenge you here, and I love you to death, but what drives me crazy is you want to watch all of these older wrestlers. You don't want to watch any of these younger wrestlers at all.
That's not true.
You want to watch all these wrestlers who are like 70, 60, 55, 58. How old's Goldberg? 99?
Yeah, 58. No, I get what you're saying. And yeah, I do like watching some of the old guys come back. But I realize that most of those guys are getting too old. I kind of consider Roman Reigns as one of the older guys now. A veteran. He's been around for a while. I mean, you could almost categorize Seth in that way. He's been around a long time, too. AJ Styles has been around for a long time. He was a big star in TNA. CM Punk is a veteran. He's been around for a long time too. So, and I like all those guys. So there's other people that, besides some of the real young ones that I really enjoy watching.
Here's my opinion, and I've been a full-time straight wrestling fan for about a year now, full in.
Right.
And I will stand on this. I think you should not have any kind of a title match unless you're a full-time wrestler.
Yeah, a lot of people says that got mad about, Brock when he was more or less part-time and held the title for a year or something like that, was hardly ever there.
I mean, not only that, but look at your buddy Goldberg coming in here just demanding a title match. And then, I mean, I love John Cena. Don't get me wrong. He has done a lot for this company. And I'm glad. But and I'm glad because he's actually seemed like a full-time wrestler this year.
Right.
I mean, he's been a part-time wrestler over the last couple of years, and I respect that. He's wanting to work in Hollywood. I get that, but to not see him wrestle and just come back every few weeks or maybe every couple of months. I mean, that's not cool. You need to be there every week if you're going to be in a championship run.
There's a large group of people that's wanting to see Cody turn heel.
I think he will.
Jim Ross don't think he will because he says that he's making too much, or he's selling too much. He's our cash cow now. He's selling too much merchandise as a baby face right now, and I don't think they'll mess that up for a while.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna go over the big weekend schedule. So we have a huge weekend in wrestling. So starting it off on Saturday is the NXT, the Great American Bash, at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And then we have AEW All In at 2 p.m. the same night. And then on Sunday, oh no, my bad. I might need to just back on Saturday night. We have the Saturday night's main event at 7 p.m. And then on the Sunday we have Evolution at 6 p.m. So these times are all in Central Time. So that is what we've got there. And real quick, I'm going to go ahead and go over the card for the NXT. The NXT card is Obafemi, who is the NXT champion, will go against Yoshida Inamura, and Josh Briggs. Hope I'm saying that right. Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe making her wrestling debut. She came on NXT a couple of weeks ago, but this is her first NXT match versus Fatal Influence. It is JC Jane and Fallon Henley with Jasmine Nix for a tag team match. And Sol Ruka with Zarya, I cannot say some of these names, versus Izzy Dame with Tatum Paxley, a singles match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. And the fourth match on the card is for the NXT North American Championship, and it's a Falls Count Anywhere match. It is Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints. Ethan Page is your champion in that match, and the fifth one in that match in the card is Javon Evans and Jasper Troy. Moving on to the Saturday night's main event. This is all subject to change, especially for the Saturday night's main event, with SmackDown still to happen on Friday. Gunther and Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is noted as Goldberg's retirement match. And then we have LA Knight versus Seth freaking Rollins in a singles match, and the return of the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre. It'll be Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre in a singles match. And then we're going to flip over here and go to the, I don't know if you want to call them a competition, but we're going to call them a competition in the AEW. It's a loaded card for All In Arlington, Texas for their All In pay-per-view. Timeless Tony Storm, who is champion, will versus Mercedes Moné in a singles match for the AEW Women's Championship. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas match for the AEW Championship. And Okada versus Kenny Omega. Winner takes all match to unify the AEW Continental and AEW International Championships into the inaugural AEW Unified Championship. And then we have a couple of to-be-determined matches that will probably get filled out tonight on Dynamite. It's pretty bad when I don't remember what their shows are called because I don't watch as much as I need to. It is going to be a men's and women casino gauntlet match for a future AEW Women's and Men Championship match. So there's going to be a men's and a women's. So that's going to be taking place on the card for All In. And the sixth one on there is the Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks in a tag team match. But if Ospreay and Strickland lose, they cannot challenge for the AEW World Champion for a year. So this is the World Tag Team Champion. If the Young Bucks lose, they will be stripped of their Executive Vice President titles. Interesting there. So then Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher for the AEW TNA Championship. Adam Cole is your champion in that match. And then moving on, the Hurt Syndicate. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus Jet Speed. And that's Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey versus the Patriarchy. Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. These are not in order, so I don't know what the main event will be. Probably going to be the main event will probably be the Jon Moxley one. But that is a loaded card, so if you're an AEW fan, it's going to be a fun card for you. I probably won't be tuning in live, however, because I'm super excited for the Great American Bash card, and I'm probably going to be watching that live. So I'll probably have to catch up on that overnight or sometime next week. And then we go to Evolution 2, the first time since 2018. And Dad's going to give you the card for that.
Talk a little bit right here about the All Out, All In or All Out, which is it?
All In.
Yeah, they got one called All Out, don't they?
I don't know their
names.
Anyway,
and I know that this is probably not the order of the matches, but the first three that you have listed there are pretty big matches. That Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné, I think, is going to be a pretty good match. That's been talked about quite a bit. And I think that
the first three have been really talked about.
Yeah, that's why I say the Moxley and the Hangman Adam Page. I think that would be one I would really like to see. And the Okada and Kenny Omega. I think that will be, those three right there are big matches. I don't care where they are or who they're for, they're still big matches.
Real quick, while I get a drink, why don't you talk a little bit on your opinion on the Continental and International Championships to be unified to a unified championship?
And I don't fully understand that. I don't know how that's going to... It makes little sense to me. To have a Continental and an Intercontinental and merge them to one. I don't understand what's the Continental. The Continental Champion would sound to me like the World Champion. So it makes no sense. I'm totally confused with that. And they've talked about that quite a bit. That's been talked about. But I have not really... So
I'm guessing the Continental is basically a knockoff United States Championship. And the International is probably or vice versa, a knockoff international or Intercontinental Championship.
I always thought the Intercontinental in the U.S. was basically the same. Maybe not.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
These two are like knockoffs of them.
Okay. So they're just going to merge them and have one title.
It would be like WWE merging those two and having one.
And listen to some of the other podcasts. I was really interested, and I'm not real about. Nobody's really went into it about that.
But me personally, I don't like it, except for the simple fact is that's a struggling promotion.
Right.
From the outside looking in. And it seems like they only have one really big show.
Right.
So it's kind of really hard to have that extra championship.
I thought you would hear maybe Eric Bischoff or Dutch Mantel or even Cornette talk a little bit about that Continental Intercontinental, but I've not been able to hear that anywhere and see what they. I guess it's not that big a deal to them, but I'm just curious on. I wondered why they were making it such a big deal. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Evolution. I got to find where that's at here.
Yeah, search right there.
Okay. So this is the card for Evolution. This is Sunday night.
Sunday night.
All women's. It's going to start with JC Jane versus Jordan Grace in a singles match with Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix. Are they going to be by her side and ringside with her?
Yes.
Okay. And there's nobody with Jordan Grace, is there?
Not as of right now. I don't know what they've got going on there. Maybe maybe Blake comes out.
And I think the Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, I think Io Sky will win that.
Okay.
And this is my opinion, but I think that's going to be a really good match. Don't you think it will be?
Yes.
In the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Those are two women right there that they are really trying to push, both of them, I think. And I think that match, and those are two women that look, when I watch them, they remind me of somebody that's really trying to, they're really putting everything they got into it to sell themselves right now. They're trying to market themselves, and that's what makes them good when they do that. And I'm not so sure that right there might not be as good a match as there is on the whole card. Them two right there, just because they are so pushing themselves so hard right now. Both of them are. And I think they're both being pushed quite a bit. But you can tell those two are trying to sell themselves.
Right.
So I really respect that. But those two, against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And then, I think those two, Raquel, Rodriguez and Perez, will win that thing. I really do. And I think that
You don't think the Kabuki Warriors will win it? How about go through the whole card and then talk about it?
Okay, I was just getting excited.
Instead of just breaking down in each little one, because you're talking about part of the match and you haven't even got to the full match yet.
Okay, let me keep going. See how you treat me. Okay, the Judgment Day, which is Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, will be battling against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. We've already talked a little bit about that. Versus, how you say that?
Sol Ruka.
And Zara versus the Kabuki Warriors. And it's a fatal four-way tag team match. And I don't think they've ever had one of those with the women that I'm aware of.
No, so the only reason why they are doing this is because of Liv. Because Liv got hurt.
Right.
And instead of just putting the tag team champion on Roxanne and leaving it on Roxanne, Adam Pearce is and the other guy, Nick Aldis, said, let's have a big tag team championship match at Evolution.
Right. Well, I think that Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez will possibly win that thing. And I don't think Charlotte and Alexa Bliss will. And I think the Kabuki Warriors would be I think it'll be between them and the Judgment Day.
No disrespect to Sol Ruka and Zaharia. I think those are great NXT ladies. I just don't see them having a good shot. But the Kabuki Warriors, they're being back in action. And after what happened last week, I wouldn't put it past them to put the belts on them.
Well, it's possible. It's possible.
If for real quick, for anyone who don't know, the Kabuki Warriors is Asuka and Kahari Sane.
You know, Asuka's on fire right now, though. She is on fire. I'll give her that. Going on down the card, there's a battle royal. And there's going to be participants to be announced for that. Is it how many person battle royal is it?
That I don't know. I don't know for sure because SmackDown has not announced theirs just yet.
I would guess it to be a 20, but not necessarily. Then also we got it's Tiffy time versus Trish Stratus. I think that'll be a pretty good match because, as you said earlier, Trish can still go. You know, I don't think it'll be a 2-minute match or nothing. I think it'll go for a while. You know, I think Stratton will win, but you just never know. Because Trish is still a viable wrestler that can go the distance if she needs to, and I think she will. Like I said, I don't think it'll be a 2-minute match. Then you got a no holds barred match with Jade Cargill and Naomi.
That's going to be a good match.
That'll be a real good match there. That'll be an excellent match. I think Jade Cargill may win that, but. And then you have Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. It's a triple threat match. That will be an interesting one, too.
For the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. That will be a very interesting, too. And I don't know exactly. I first said that Bayley, but I tell you what, any of those women could have a good chance of winning that one. I thought first Bayley would, but either one of them could. And it might be Lyra that could win that thing. Who knows?
Lyra was the original holder. She was the inaugural winner of the Women's Intercontinental Championship. She won the tournament back in the winter. So, and that's kind of how the storyline has been played out. Is she wants her title back. Becky has come for it. Becky has it, and then Bayley wants it.
Right.
So it's a great storyline. These three ladies never disappoint, and I'm super excited.
You think it'll change hands?
Yes. I think Bayley wins.
Well, she may, but I think you wouldn't rule out Lyra getting it back either.
I would, because she had some offense on Raw. Because most of the time, if you have offense before the match, you end up losing.
Yeah, that's true.
If you just end up watching wrestling for very long, you can kind of figure it out.
But I will say this: I think I think the whole weekend's going to be pretty good.
If you love wrestling, this is the week for you.
This is it, because you got. Well, I mean, theoretically, in a way, starting tonight, you got AEW. Mm-hmm. And then
you got AEW tonight, then you got TNA tomorrow night, and you've got SmackDown on Friday night, and then you've got everything Saturday, and then Evolution and stuff on Sunday.
So basically, I mean, theoretically, we could say it kicks off tonight with Dynamite and goes through Sunday. So it'll be a big weekend. I mean, I think there'll be some really good matches. I think some of these we talked about will be really good too. But anyway, looking forward to it, and looks like we got a lot of baseball to talk about too. A lot of things going on in baseball right now as we're heading into the All-Star break, and we're just weeks away from the trade deadline. And I'll let you pick it up from there. We'll talk a little bit. I'm very interested to see where the standings are at right now too.
So the automatic balls and strike challenge system that debuted back in spring training. Basically what that is, and I'll probably have to explain it for Dad mainly, but I'll explain it for everyone, is basically it's to help not only the umpires, but help the pitcher and catcher and batter. So the pitcher will pitch, and if whatever the umpire calls a ball or a strike, if the catcher or the batter or the pitcher wants to challenge that pitch, they tap their helmet or hat and they challenge up to the umpire. The umpire points to upstairs. They challenge it, and he wears an earpiece, and it gets back to him either a ball or a strike, and we move on. In a way, I like it, and in a way, I don't, because it takes the human element out of the game. But then, if you have it, it also puts in the perfect strike zones. So there's two sides to it, and I mean, I kind of have mixed emotions on it because I like having the human element to where you can go out there and yell at the umpire, and also having the element to where you have a perfect strike zone. So those are the main two elements that I have for it and against it.
Well, that's to me. I'm in favor of the other stuff we're doing, instant replay on and stuff. But the balls and strikes, to me, that's the human element that gives the game the drama. The drama that it's had for 100+ years. I don't want to see it become too robotic, too machine-like. I think we're doing enough now in that regards to that. Regarding other things, replays and stuff. But I think balls and strikes. I think it would be a very bad move to change that about the game. I think right now there'll be a lot of resistance, don't you?
There is a lot of mixed feelings on it, and it goes back and forth, back and forth. I think within the next year or two, it'll be in the game to stay.
You think it will be?
I think so.
I kind of hoped it wouldn't, but
I think it will. And I mean, in a way, I hate it, and in a way, I'm like, yeah, I can adjust. But it's kind of difficult.
What about, I heard this talked about one time when this first came about, that somebody told me the idea, what if it was only playoff games? Did you hear it that way? I heard that.
So, I've heard that, but with me, I think it would make a lot more sense for just the catcher and batter to challenge it, rather than having the pitcher or because the manager don't even have control. Manager can't challenge it.
Not like in the football, he can't challenge.
No,
he's got a challenge.
The pitcher, catcher, or batter.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Can only challenge the automatic ball strike system.
Oh, okay.
We're not talking like just regular replay.
Right.
Because we have replay review in all games now.
But they're going to get instructions from the sideline if they want them to challenge it too, probably.
Nope, you can't.
Really?
It's prohibited.
Really? Why is that?
Because you don't have that much time.
I
mean, you don't have 5 seconds after each pitch. We're trying to speed up pitch. We're trying to speed up play. I mean, we don't have that time. It's not like football to where you're like, okay, we got to play. We have a play. Now we have like 30 seconds before the play clock runs out.
Well, if something like this would happen, let's just say that they would implement this in the future. Do you ever see them coming up with actual timeouts in baseball?
No.
Calling this stuff where they get a timeout charged against them?
No, because they're trying. Pace of play is a huge thing that this commissioner is.
I'm not sure what his deal is with that.
I have no idea because everything seems to be more fast paced.
Pretty soon he's going to knock it down to 7-inning games.
Well, everything is a fast paced life. Okay, you look at your phone. You watch TikTok. How long is your TikTok videos?
No, 30 seconds.
Exactly.
I mean, if they're a minute, that's a really long one.
Exactly. You have a hard time watching. Trust me. And you can sit here and lie to me all you want, but I know everybody's like this. You have a hard time sitting through a minute TikTok video.
Yeah, it's pretty long. It's pretty long.
So that is what his thinking is about a baseball game. Instead of having it 3 to 4 hours long, he's cut it down to about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but it seems like it's becoming an urgency to get it down. the way he's treating it. And don't you think the balls and strikes will speed it up?
It's not really so much about speeding it up. It's so much more about getting the call right.
Right.
Because, like, for example, look at Angel Hernandez, one of the worst umpires to ever umpire in the game of baseball. His strike zone was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And if he would have had this, he would have got owned pretty much every game.
And I don't want to get off on this, but that video I showed you about the guy that was hurt, call time, was that recently?
I didn't see the date or anything on it.
Okay, but we talk about that some other time. But yeah, I don't know. I right now I think that I would like to see it sampled a lot more than just an All-Star game before they went into it. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it wasn't spring training in select ballparks back in the spring, and
not everybody had it.
No, but it seemed pretty good. But it's in minor leagues. It is in the minor leagues. But I just think that we need full minor league. We need obviously full minor league ballparks and then full spring training ballparks before we just go in and then implement it into the game.
What if when they do implement it? What if they implemented it into 40 games the first year just to see how it goes?
So my opinion that will mess with people. You need to either
go all the way,
the way in. It's either it's like the old saying, shit or get off the pot.
Right. Well, like I said, I want them to have the correct calls and everything, but I hate to see the human element leave it. But
right,
we'll see what happens. I think you're probably right. I think inevitably in the future that's the way it will probably be. The more I think about it, I think you're probably right. That's we're going to go to an AI baseball game.
Oh my! That's terrible to think of. So now we're gonna shift to the home run leader chase. We got Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge. So right now, as of currently, Cal Raleigh is at 36 home runs on the year through 330 at-bats, and Aaron Judge through 337 at-bats is at 34 home runs. So can Judge catch up? Judge is only 2 behind, but Cal Raleigh continues to keep hitting. Judge has played 2 more games. Judge has had 7 more at-bats. But Judge has got a batting average of .359. However, Cal Raleigh's got a batting average of .267. So that's going to be an interesting thought to continue to watch as we move forward into the break and into the second half of the season. Can Cal Raleigh continue to keep his home run hitting and keep his home run hitting up to par with Aaron Judge and keep it to where he is the leader? That'll be something to continue to watch.
So he's batting .359?
Aaron Judge.
Oh, Aaron Judge is.
Okay. Aaron Judge. Patrick Bailey walked it off on an inside the park home run. Giants win on a rare and wild finish. That don't happen very much.
No.
Bryce Harper's hot streak. Bryce Harper powers the Phillies with big hits just in time for All-Star buzz. Bryce Harper's been injured a lot this year. I do not see him being a All-Star, but we will see moving forward. DJ LeMahieu, one of their hot hitters from the 2019-2020 seasons, has been designated for assignment. So, what does that mean for the Yankees? Does that mean they are shifting towards their youth? Probably so. So the Tigers has some surprise All-Stars they have 5, and they have the really surprising one in Jack McKinstry, and the big return of Javier Baez. Good to see Javier Baez come back. and really succeed out in center field after having a rough couple of years up there in Detroit. The Blue Jays win streak ends at 10, and it was a good run. They picked up a lot of ground and overtook first place. The Orioles had an immaculate inning. Brandon Young strikes out the side on 9 pitches, which was a magical inning and does not happen very much. So next we have the MLB Speedway game coming up. This MLB Speedway Classic, and coming up in August. It'll come up the August 2nd. It'll be the Braves and Reds. It'll take place there in Bristol, Tennessee. So basically, how this is going to work, that is, they're going to go to Bristol Motor Speedway and play baseball in the middle.
Yeah, they did that with wrestling before, too.
So this is the first time MLB has ever done anything like this, and I'm super excited for it. It's going to be a fun time out there. Like I said, it's going to be August the 2nd. I plan on watching every inning of it.
Where's it at?
Bristol Motor Speedway.
Bristol. It would be fun to go to, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
But the wrestling's done that before. I never heard of any other sports ever doing it.
That is completely awesome. They're making a big event out of it. They got some pregame concerts. They got some fan zones. They have special uniforms for it. And then, so this is actually, this is going to be crazy. You're not going to believe this. This is the first AL-NL regular season game in the state of Tennessee, and the first MLB game played on a racetrack. The game is on the first Saturday of August, and is the finale of 3 games series, with the first 2 games being played at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. So this is the first MLB game to ever be played in the state of Tennessee.
That's pretty cool. That's real cool. The first one ever played. That's...
Yes, sir.
That's making history then, isn't it?
Yes. Real quick before we get to the standings and then get to the All-Star selections and the trade deadline watch, are the Dodgers okay? The Dodgers have lost 6 straight games, and the NL West continues to look interesting. The Dodgers have been swept by the Astros over the weekend and have lost 3 straight to the Milwaukee Brewers. I believe that is only a 3-game set. So they have been swept back-to-back series, and they have lost 6 straight games.
Is it 6 or 7?
It is 6.
Okay.
So, however, they are in luck because the Giants have been losing some games too. So we're going to jump into the standings, but we're going to jump out west first.
But let me say this, who would have ever thought that the Dodgers would lose 6 in a row in July?
Yeah. So the Dodgers are 56 and 38. 5 games behind them is 51 and 43 is the San Francisco Giants. Third place at 49 and 42 is the San Diego Padres. At 45 and 47, 10 games out, is the Arizona Diamondbacks. And in last place at 21 and 71 is the Colorado Rockies. I still stand on this, that the Arizona Diamondbacks will be sellers at the deadline. I think that is the best thing for them. I think you need to sell off anything that you don't have contracts for next year, because that National League is jam-packed. You're not going to have much of a chance, if you ask me. NL Central, the Chicago Cubs at 54 and 37. 2 games behind them is Milwaukee Brewers at 53-40. Third place, the St. Louis Cardinals at 49-43. Cincinnati Reds at 46-46, and the Pittsburgh Pirates at 38-55. Going over to the National League East is the Philadelphia Phillies, 54-39. A half a game behind them is the New York Mets at 53-39. Third place is the Miami Marlins at 42-48. Fourth place is kind of a surprising team, and I think they will be sellers at the deadline now that we've kind of seen how they have fared this month of June. They're on a 5-game losing streak is the Atlanta Braves at 39-51. And the Washington Nationals are at 37-54. 16 games back and 12 and a half out of the wild card, and have lost 4 straight games.
Hey, what did you think about the Baumgartner thing? I wanted to talk about that. We'll go ahead and finish here, and we'll talk about that briefly.
Going on to the American League West, the Houston Astros at 55-37. 6.5 games back behind them is the Seattle Mariners at 58-43. The Texas Rangers is at 45-47, 10 games back. The Los Angeles Angels at 44-47, and the Athletics are at 38-55. The AL East is the Toronto Blue Jays is in first place at 54-39. Second place is the New York Yankees at 50-41. Third place is the Tampa Bay Rays at 49-43. The Boston Red Sox is at 48-45. And Baltimore Orioles at 40-50. Going on to the American League Central, the Detroit Tigers is at 59-34. Second place is the Kansas City Royals at 45-48. Minnesota Twins is at 44-47. Cleveland Guardians 42-48, and the Chicago White Sox at 31-62. That is your Major League Baseball standings. A lot of baseball left. We're almost to the mid-season break. We have the Home Run Derby on Monday coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, with the All-Star Game coming up Tuesday in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to get the All-Star Game rosters here for you in just a second. I think Dad had something he was wanting to mention.
Would you see Baumgartner get kicked out?
No.
I'm assuming that was pretty recently.
Madison Bumgarner?
Uh-huh.
He hasn't been in baseball for like 3 years.
Well, that video that was showing, I thought he was back.
He hasn't pitched in a Major League Baseball game in 3 years.
I thought he was in Arizona.
Not in 3 years.
All right, edit this then.
Okay. So we're going to pull up the MLB All-Stars. So the All-Star roster for 2025. So the starters for the American League. Cal Raleigh at first base. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base. Second base is Gleyber Torres. Third base is Jose Ramirez. Shortstop is Jacob Wilson. And 3 outfield spots is Aaron Judge, Riley Green, and Javier Baez, with your DH being Ryan O'Hearn. The reserves are Alejandro Kirk, Jonathan Aranda, Alex Bregman, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Brendan Lau, Jeremy Pena, who will not be playing, Bobby Witt Jr., Junior Caminario, Isaac Paredes, Jack McKinstry, Byron Buxton, Stephen Kwan, Julio Rodriguez, and Brent Rooker. The starting pitchers for the American League. Let me find So the ads popped up. Hunter Brown, who will most likely not be pitching. Chris Bubik. Garrett Crochet. Jacob deGrom. Max Fried. Yusei Kikuchi. Tyreek Skubal. Shane Smith. Brian Wu. Joe Ryan. The relief pitchers are Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader, and Andres Munoz. And the starters for the National League: Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Ketel Marte, Manny Machado, Francisco Liriano, Ronald Acuna Jr., PCA Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Shohei Ohtani. And your reserves are Hunter Goodman, Pete Alonso, Ellie De La Cruz, Brendan Donovan, Matt Olson, Eugenio Suarez, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Stowers, Fernando Tatis Jr., James Wood, and Kyle Schwarber. And your starting pitchers: Matthew Boyd, Mackenzie Gore, and a legendary pick, Clayton Kershaw, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, Chris Sale, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb, Zach Wheeler, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Andrew Abbott. With a couple of relief pitchers here: Jason Adam, Edwin Diaz, Randy Rodriguez, Robert Suarez, and Trevor McGill. That is your MLB All-Stars for this year's All-Star Game. And
Tuesday?
It is Tuesday. Moving on to the deadline watch, I still stand on this, and I think that the three major teams that will end up being sellers: the Braves, the Orioles, and the Rockies. Because I don't know how much the Rockies have to sell.
So how much do they have to sell?
But anything they've got that's valuable, they will sell. And I think same thing with Miami. And potentially, I'm going to still stand on this. I think Arizona will sell.
I wouldn't think, but maybe so. You're more of a baseball guy than me.
They're 7 games out of the they're 5 to 7 games out of the wild card. They're not. It's going to be tough for them to come out of that hole. They're not winning the West. They're going to have to win like 20 games in a row to win the West.
In other words, if they can get a winning formula in there, they might not totally waste their season. There could be hope if they could start winning series.
Yes, but I think you're better. Your best option is to trade Zach Gallen, who is a pretty decent arm, and try to get because I think he's coming up on his contract year, and try to get all you can get out of him. You may just get a couple of prospects out of him, so be it. And then you try to trade Eugenio Suarez, who you can try to get some lower level major leaguers out of, and then potentially some higher prospects, and then you start focusing on next year.
Well, that's true. And we talked about a team that did that the other day, and it did them some good. Who was it?
I mean, it happens all the time.
Right. Well, Colorado's got to do something.
They need to sell their team is what they need to do.
That's what they need to do, sell to the... Why don't you buy it?
You're going to give me a couple billion?
Yeah, that's what it would take to buy it, probably. It's probably one of the least valued teams in the league, though, isn't it? In the MLB.
Probably. All right, so you want to go over some of our NFL stuff?
Don't have a lot of really earth-shaking stuff with the NFL, but before we go any farther, I wanted to say this. We try to keep this. This isn't political, but I just want to extend my prayers to all the folks in Texas. That's a very serious thing, and I just want to know that we definitely are throwing prayers that way. The NFL now looks like Joe Burrow's home was burglarized. I didn't quite understand what all was taken, or if anything really was taken, but it did happen. I kind of felt like there was kind of being really vague in that conversation. Like, I just wondered if they don't have an idea who done it or something, maybe, by the way the conversation went. But anyway, sorry to hear about that. That's nobody likes that feeling of knowing somebody's been in your home. And Kirk Cousins, quarterback with the Falcons, seems like he's a little bit disenchanted. I think he was really disappointed that after the big deal to bring him into Atlanta last year, then the Falcons went and drafted a quarterback. And their first pick, it wasn't like a 5th or 6th round, it was their first pick. And I think that kind of made him feel like that maybe they aren't as committed to him as they should or something. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but he didn't like the feeling of it. And he said that something into the effect that he might as well stayed in Minnesota. But I know quarterbacks are touchy when it comes about that, them drafting somebody. Maybe even baseball players is too. I don't know. But number 3, we're talking about Mike Vrabel. He's already the name's being thrown out there for the NFL Coach of the Year for 2025. Here's the thing, that can change real fast. By week 3, if they're 1-2, that could change real fast. But there's a lot of pressure put on Mike Vrabel and for him to perform. So, and Eli Manning was asked if he wanted to invest into the New York Giants. And I think the Giants were evaluated at about $7.3 billion. So it would be like $700 and some million, and he said it was too rich for his blood. He couldn't do that, and I can understand why. Dallas Cowboys punt return, I guess he was kick and return specialist Cavante Turpin was arrested on charges of marijuana possession and unlawful carrying of a weapon. So I don't know, that might get him released.
I mean, knowing Jerry Jones, that probably will get him released.
Very well could get him released, and that's not the publicity you want for your team.
No.
So in the past, we saw guys that got in trouble, and a lot of times, they have either been suspended for a while or totally kicked off the team. So I think there'll be some kind of repercussions come along with that. I don't know what it'll be, but I think we'll be hearing about it.
So real quick, as we're talking about the Cowboys here, I saw a quote from Jerry Jones himself. He said that when people ask him why don't the Cowboys hire a general manager, he says nobody can do a better job than him as general manager.
That's what he said?
That's what he said.
Really?
With some explicits in there.
I can't believe he actually said that.
Yes.
That's kind of embarrassing. Kind of embarrassing himself a little bit, I would think. But, wow. Well, shout out to Jerry, I guess.
Go Jerry.
First week of NFL preseason begins August the 7th, which is right around the corner. The 2025 Hall of Fame game is scheduled for July 31st. So that'll be the first football that you see. And then the 7th, August 7th after that, which would be about a week, that's when the first preseason games, or the first of the preseason games begin. So, man, look where we're getting to already to NFL time again. I'm looking forward to it. But
is there 3 preseason games in the schedule?
It used to be 4. I guess there's down to 3 now.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But that's right now. That NFL wise, that's about all I have. But
it's all right around the corner.
Yeah, things are hot right now.
College football is getting ready to start up. I'm gonna be excited for that. Just got my notifications to go ahead and to go buy my season tickets. So I have to get that done this week and get ready for some college football.
Baseball's going to be hot, and we're going to have a lot going on when that all happens.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that's all I have for you this week.
That's all I have too. Like I said, it's a great week to be a wrestling fan. There's a bunch of MLB news going on. The All-Star Game will be next Tuesday. So we will have the results of that. Then we'll have the All-Star break. And then right after that will be the trade deadline. We'll really get into talking about the trade deadline information and everything. And then the NFL season will take place the July 31st. And quick scheduling updates, we will mention it next week as well. But the week of the 22nd, 23rd, the 21st through the 26th, we will not have a podcast show. We will be out of town, so we will not have a show that week. Sorry for last week's not having a show, but with the holiday, I'm also a coach. Sometimes you just need time to yourself, time with your family. So if you're listening, I always encourage people to have that time with your family, time to yourself. So then once we get back from vacation, we'll be back here every week. And then starting back in mid-August, I'll give you the exact date moving forward. We will go back to releasing on Monday mornings. So we will record Sunday night and then release on Monday mornings. It has been nice to be able to do this on Wednesdays through the summer, but I'll be going back to work as an educator coach back in August, so I will not be available much through the week. So that's your scheduling notes for the Backyard Sports Talk. But we will be back next week, the July 16th, and then after that we'll be back July 30th. So remember, the week of the 21st through the 26th, we will not have a podcast, but we will be back after that. So thank you for listening to the edition of the Backyard Sports Talk. This is Reid Jaco and
Danny Jaco saying good night.
Good night.